This time on Second Chance Ohana.
Welcome, foolish DIYers. We are Second Chance Ohana, and today is a special, frightening Halloween episode. We are participating in a one-of-a-kind Halloween Fall Furniture Flipping Challenge hosted by Lemons to Lemonade, Texas. Make sure to stick around if you dare to see a frightening antique furniture flip. That's so you can add a fake laugh. Ha ha ha! Check out this piece. We knew we wanted to do a Halloween project, but rather than sell it, I knew my oldest daughter, Erica, would absolutely love a special piece in her room. So I gave her 4 options of what I found on Facebook Marketplace, and hands down, this was her top pick. We were able to get it for $100 off of Facebook Marketplace, and as cool as it is, this is an antique and needed a lot of work. But we had all sorts of ideas for how to make it Halloween-y and a tad bit creepy.
So my thoughts when I first saw this was, wow, this is going to take a lot of work.
Of the 4 options I gave Erica, she of course chose the most expensive one. So A, she had to contribute $25 to this piece, and B, she had to help with it. So we always start by cleaning a piece with some TSP and rinsing it down in the water, and man, this piece was dirty and bleeding like crazy. This piece has so much surface area. It took me 3 days to sand it all down. I'm not even trying to get to the bare wood. I'm just trying to scuff sand. But man, this piece has been through a lot of renovations and restorations over the years, so there was a lot of grit to get through because most of those restorations were not done by professionals.
Geez, where was I? I missed out on all that sanding fun. Oh wait, that's right. I was in Hawaii.
You I went a bit deeper in my sanding of this piece because we have some special Halloween plans in store. One of the reasons Erica was so excited about this piece was because of this little secretary right here. Look at the details of this. It's handmade with wood, a very thin wood. It's beautiful and ornate, and we have plans to revive it. These drawers are original, and they were coming apart at the seams. Nothing a little wood glue and clamps can't take care of. But imagine if this piece could talk. This piece was built in 1899, and man, I wish I knew the history of it. Unfortunately, that's one of the things that when many people have owned it and you're buying it off of Facebook Marketplace, you don't get to really learn its true history. But I wonder all the things that these drawers have held over the years.
So like most pieces of furniture that are 122 years old, this piece does have some little broken pieces of trim. Here we just took some molding putty, and it comes in 2 different little packages, and you kind of mold it together, just kneading it, and then you stick it on the trim and let it, just smash it on there and let it harden. After that, you can peel it off and instant mold for your bondo. So the feet were a little trickier because those were very large chunks, And before we filled them with the molds with the Bondo, we actually screwed in some screws, into the existing piece. And that acts a little bit like reinforcement, like rebar, to hold the Bondo to the piece. And a big shout out to Jim over at Furniture Warriors for that tip. Thanks, Jim.
This was our first time using this mold putty, and it was so cool peeling the mold out because it looks like actual trim work. We just had to clean it up a little bit with the X-Acto knife. And when we placed it back on the top, it matched everything else perfectly like it had always been there, except for the fact that it was yellow. But once we paint over it, it'll look like it had been there for 122 years. And the feet were a little more tricky. They didn't come out perfect, but they came out pretty darn good. And just need a little bit of sanding to make them blend in like the rest of the toes. Unlike Sammy's beach theme room, Erica has a very black and red theme going on. So we wanted to incorporate some red to really make it pop, and we decided the interior of each of these kind of nook areas was the perfect place for it.
So we tried spray painting it with red, and you know what, it turned out okay, but I think looking back, we would have just skipped the spray paint and just used our usual paint. We thought we were saving some steps. For our primer, we used our favorite, the Zinsser Bin, which is a shellac primer. And I added some gray to it because we're going to be painting black over it. But this piece is such a bleeder. There's so many tannins in it. I needed to use 2 coats on it. Okay, you guys, this was so fun. It was like being in 2nd grade all over again. So I saw Katie Scott over at Salvage by Kay Scott making these molds on one of her projects. And so here it is. I'm using some paper clay, pushing them into some fondant molds, and just creating these cute little embellishments.
Okay, so these great paper clay embellishments that my mom made, they're still a little bit wet, which means I can mold them around the edge so they fit on there perfectly. If I had waited till they dried completely, they definitely wouldn't have fit on the round corners. We added them to the sides, to the top, and I'm also getting some prepped to add to the tops of the mirrors. It's finally time to make some shelves for this display cabinet. We wanted to make them out of wood, but obviously with the curve, needed to figure out just the right size to make them. And this cardboard makes that so easy. I just taped a couple pieces together and kept trimming until it fit perfectly. Then I was able to take a scrap piece of wood and just trace it right around and then cut it out with the jigsaw. Time to see if these shelves actually fit the space. They pretty much fit perfect. I'm a bit nervous to see if they'll fit with the door on once the glass is on, They may have to get trimmed down just, oh, okay, yep, there it goes. I wish I could take credit for Erica's artistic talents, but unfortunately, as she's not my biological daughter, I can't claim any credit for that. We knew 4.5 years ago when we met her, and her staff raved about what a great artist she was, but it was nothing in comparison to what she can do now. She freehanded all of this, and drawing is her first passion. She's now learning to love painting too, and look at her blend these colors to make it look realistic. You guys haven't tried this technique. It works great if you don't want to spend hours putting green or blue painter's tape around the edges of mirrors. If a little bit of overspray or any paint gets on your mirrors, just wet a razor blade and scrape it right off. The mirror stays safe and it becomes perfectly clean when you're done. Time for some hardware soup. We knew we wanted to paint this hardware black, but this hardware is old, so the pieces we were going to reuse, we needed to get all the dirt, the grime, and in some cases, even some paint off of it. And that's easy to do when you boil half water, half vinegar, give it a good scrub with steel wool, and at times we even used a little barkeeper's friend with that steel wool, and that brass just polished right up. I would have kept it if we weren't going for a gothic black theme. So with that clean old hardware and then also some new hardware that we're using for the drawers, we wanted to paint them all black, so we did a couple coats of this black spray paint by Rust-Oleum, and then afterwards, once it's all dry, we made sure to top coat it with a clear satin finish. Oftentimes, new hardware calls for new holes, and especially in this case because the old holes were completely off-center. So now they're going to be perfect for this new gothic hardware we got for these drawers. This door came with the cutest handle, and it even had a little spot for a keyhole. Unfortunately, the latch was missing, so I found a new one off Amazon and we drilled out some extra space to make it fit and time to test it with the skeleton key. Yee! It works! The door will officially lock and stop. Now it's time to make this secretary pop. We're back to using that red spray paint. And really, I can't think of any way I could get in the nooks and crannies with any other type of paint. So this definitely worked well. And if you haven't tried one of these spray paint handles, you've got to invest in one. It's $3 and it'll save your hand from so much cramping, and it keeps your nozzles spraying evenly all the way across.
Yay, time for the paint. I love painting our pieces. And today we started using the Melange 1 paint. This is our first time, and this is in jet black. And, I was a little bit worried about it because you can see on this first coat, it's not going on very thick. The coverage doesn't look good. It's like, how many coats are we going to do?
Being able to work on these pieces together makes the process go so much faster. Although this piece still took forever. But we love being able to, for the final coat, so for, in this case, the second black coat, we love being able to tag team. So my mom will paint it on nice and thick with a brush, and then I just gently roll over it, smoothing it all out, and that leaves a beautiful finish on these pieces when we're not spraying. Look how far she's come. Today is Get Her Done Day. Seeing as how this is a Halloween project, I knew something was going to be cursed. And unfortunately, it was this door. The last owners had given us the glass for this door all wrapped up. I was too afraid to open it. I was afraid there was a crack. I didn't even bother asking. But I hoped beyond hope that somehow it was perfect. And guess what? It was. We took it out of the towels and it was in perfect condition. So after siliconing all the areas so the glass could lay right on top, it was time to place it in for the final fit. We laid it in nice and perfectly. But there's a problem. There is a curse, and I cannot figure out why. But the glass doesn't fit the door. The curve is perfect, but it literally doesn't fit. And fell right through on the edges with the width. So we decided to flip it around. Maybe it was just because this was hand cut back in the 1800s. So we decided, it's probably not perfectly symmetrical. Let's try it the other way. What do you think? Will it fit? The correct answer is seen on my face. No, it won't. And at this point, I just don't even know what to do about this door. So after taking some time off, I had to take a break. And then I had to call in the big guns. So after taking a mental break from this problem, I had to come up with a way so the glass wouldn't fall through the door. And I couldn't think of a way, so a pretty way at least. So I headed over to the big guns, my neighbor Nelson, who used to be a framer, which I had forgotten the moment I asked him. And he comes and pulls out these fillets. I don't know if you've ever seen these before, but it's like the trim that goes inside fancy frames. And the glass can just lay right on top of that. So he had plenty of extra back from his framing days, and he helped every step of the way get these pieces cut, get them shaped to match the curve, and to get them installed. So it was a time-consuming project, but now the door looks better than it probably looked originally. Or maybe originally there even was a kind of fillet in there that had since been removed. So if you remember, these drawers had keyholes already, but they were tiny and they were at the very top of the drawer. When I got these new ornate keyhole covers, it covered part of the hole, and then what else was showing was just the wood. So in order to make them look like they'd always been there, we had to use that Dremel to carve out some wood, and now they look like they were like that since 1899. As you can see, I've added the black embellishments around the mirror to give this piece a more ornate feel. And we also wanted to add some modern puck lights. These are battery operated and it comes with a little remote. And this way my daughter can choose the colors she wants and leave those on at night, acting like her night light. And we put one in each section, each cabinet section. Wow. It has been a long 3 weeks, but look all that we accomplished. Do you even remember what this piece looked like before? Look how it ended up. Stepping back now, we are super proud of how this turned out. This antique furniture flip really took on a creepy life of its own. We enjoyed it and we hope you did too. Happy Halloween! Thank you for watching our Halloween transformation. We are Second Chance Ohana. We hope you will subscribe, like, and comment below. And now, if you haven't, go watch the other Halloween furniture flip challenges. Aloha.